I'll just quickly show you how the return works. Okay. Ready? So there are two ways again. You can enter the return authorization from here. When the return authorizations go into the list, and then you can enter it here. Or when you go to the purchase order, you have an authorized return option that you can see there. So you can click on that, and that will take you to the return authorization screen, right? So this is the return authorization form. Now, every transaction that I have shown you since yesterday, the purchase order, the item receipt, the vendor bill, the payment, and now the vendor return authorization, everything is going to have a form, right? Those are forms, and you can actually create your custom forms for the client that you're working on. So, I mean, as of now, this is standard vendor return authorization form, but then you can create your custom forms and custom fields that you can actually leverage on each form. So what I'm saying is there is advance paid for $500, and then the items as well. So what I'll do is, let's not return the advances which were paid. So I'm going to remove that. Okay. And then we will return only the item, which is $950 plus 5% of the taxes. Okay. So let's save this. And more or less looks like the item. I mean, the purchase order form wherein you have those items, the expenses, the classes, locations, and everything. Okay. So this is pending return right now. If you see the GL impact of this pending return, you will be able to notice that the vendor return authorization, there is a separate account that is created for this, the GL account. All right. And the inventory is going to be a credit because the inventory is going out of the warehouse, right? I mean, we will return the inventory back to the vendor. And that's the reason you will see an amount which is a credit over here. Okay. Right. So let's go back. And once you do a return, okay, the page is going to take you to the credit memo, right? I mean, you would actually do an item fulfillment first, okay? Because you're shipping out the equipment or whatever material that you've taken, right? You are shipping it out of your warehouse. So that is how you will have the save and credit. So we are crediting the vendor right now, okay? For this $950 that you have made a payment, you will have a vendor credit against this particular vendor. Okay, this is a bill credit that we are creating right now. This is a third form. In fact, the sixth form that we dealt with from yesterday, right? First one was a purchase order form, and then we went into the item receipt form. Once that was done, we went into the bill. That was a vendor bill which was created. And once the bill is created, we have made a payment. That was a fourth form. And then the return authorization, and then the item fulfillment, because we are shipping the material out of the warehouse. That's an item fulfillment. And now you will have the bill credit form, which you will be able to make a credit. So here, now, according to, whatever is the situation, maybe you and vendor had a talk, and the vendor is not ready to make a complete, you do not want, the vendor says that they want a little more refund or a less refund, whatever it is. So you can actually make that changes over here in the amount field that you can see there. Okay. And then we will save that. So the bill credit would be saved. And we'll see the final GL impact, by the way, once it is saved. Okay. So that's let me show you this. Okay. So the accounts payable is going to be a debit, and then inventory return not credited yet. Now this is going to be a credit. So the bill credit is going to be with this vendor. Okay. So if you receive that payment back from, from the vendor, then you can actually, you can show that against this particular bill credit. But usually what happens is this will be as a bill credit in the system, and it will be used next time. Whenever you are making a payment to this vendor, you can knock off this $950 and make a payment for the rest. Okay. So that's how it works. Now, what I can do is, if I go into the payments, okay, let's say I want to go and we will see the pay single vendor. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
my vendor is Advent Global Solutions, right? So let me select the Advent Global Solutions. So what all credit we have, there are two bill credits, right? So one is the $997.50 that we have given a credit. There's another, $1,050, which was a credit earlier as well. We have seen this bill credit, right? Why exactly
Mm-hmm.
this bill credit? You will be able to see that when you go into the, when you come here, it has come from a vendor return authorization two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can open that vendor credit return authorization and you will see what was the credit all about. Okay, there were two Dell computers which were returned for $1,000 and then a 5% the tax rate above that. So that is the reason you have a bill credit of about $1,050 particular account over there with that vendor. Let us see that. I don't think there's an out-of-the-box report for open vendor credits as such. Okay.
Okay.
However, you can build your saved searches.
Okay.
Okay. So through the saved search, you will always be able to do that. Open bills, obviously, you are not going to see the credits in there because
Right.
only if there are open bills that have to be made a payment for,
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what it shows. But you see this, there is a negative $1,050 and then negative $997.50, which shows up over in the accounts payable as well. These are all the negative amounts that you see in the brackets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so whatever is a negative amount is that would be a bill credit. So you can actually do that. I mean, once you open the open bills, right? You might customize and then put in a filter and say that if the amount is less than zero, right? That's what is a credit, right?
Right.
So you can see the amount field. Search for that. Okay, and you can say that it's less than zero. Now you will be able to
Mm-hmm.
see those. This is a filter that you can put in for the report, right? So anything which is less than zero would be a credit, and you can see that. You will be able to load them. As of now, there are only credit bills, I think, and that's how it will show up.
Right. Right. Okay.
Right, you can actually do that. I mean, any filter of your choice, right? Amount, gross, or anything that would be there, you will be able to see that under the reports. You can maintain those filters. Okay, that's amount due actually. So when we searched amount, gross amount, I think we've put in some other part. So let's do this. Yeah, there you go. Amount due, if it is less than zero, then obviously you would be able to find those credit amounts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, still haven't come, but yeah, so it will be a part of the filters that you can do. You have to search for the exact field and then put in whatever amount that you have over there so that the credit amounts will be. But out of the box, we don't have any report that shows only amounts that are credit memos actually. So various reports on this, purchasing part. When you've gone there, there are certain reports. I'm pretty sure you must be aware of all these reports. But you have purchase by vendor, purchase by item. So what this does is you will have a filter wherein you can see how many purchase orders have been done against one particular item over there. Okay, and then the open purchase orders wherein they've not been approved yet, and the item receipt hasn't been done on those purchase orders. Those are the open purchase orders that you would see. You have an entire purchase order history. And then coming to the AP aging, of course, you know what this does. And then open bills. This is the open bills part that we have over here. So if you want to review the reports that you have for, let's say exclusively for the purchase, then this is where you go. You can just click on that reports tab that you have there, and then you have your this is for sales. So you have your purchases and you have your vendors and payables. So this is where you have all the reports that you can do for your purchase. Okay.
Right.
So likewise, since we have covered the okay, now we were actually doing the purchases only, right? So I told you that, when we were doing the support issues, so you can, these are the different statuses that you have for your issues. Okay, so let me just open them real quickly and I'll show you. This is the master data, by the way, that I'm talking about. For every case that you have, you might have your case origins, case types, case issues, right? And then all these things would be there. So these are the master data that you will have on your case. Whenever you're creating a case, and where do you create the case from? Here, support. These are the cases. Okay, so when you open up a case, this is an internal case that, any of your customers might raise for their concerns that they have, right? Somebody might call in and say that I want to know what's happening with my service, right? In that case, the support representative would raise a case. Okay, and then
Mm-hmm.
that case will be routed to a support representative. Any company that you can raise a case against your customers, right? These are the cases that you have. So all these things that you see here, the product, the origin, the module, the type, and everything, these are your master data that you can create. Okay, and where do you create that? This is exactly where you create it. On the case priority list, you have high, medium, low, right? And on case type, you've got question, or if it is a concern or a problem. And then on the case origin types, you have your web, email, phone, others, right? So this is how
Mm-hmm.
cases are created. Now, there is one good way of creating cases. Now, one is a manual way of creating cases. A support representative is going to come here, go to the support, and then create a case or an issue for them to check out what's happening with that particular customer. Now, there is another way of doing that as well. So the other way is that you're going to set up support, and then there's something called as online case form. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what this does is, I have a new online case form which is already created. So let me open that, or I can edit that and show you. So when I click on edit, I can create a form with all the details that I require, right? The email, the incoming message, subsidiary, the title, first name, last name, and the company name. You also need a company name as well, right? So let's create that too. And then probably you can put in a thanks for reaching out was our support rep will contact you soon, something like that. All right, okay, so we are creating an online form. This is called as an online form, and once you save this, under the external tab there would be an online form. This is a publishable form URL that gets created. So what your employer, whoever it is, can do is they mask this, the URL, and they will put in like submit, probably something like submit a query or submit a case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what will happen is once you submit this, okay, so there is
Mm-hmm.
your customer who's got this URL and says submit a case. So they have got nothing to do with NetSuite, right? They just come here and then they put in the query and they submit a ticket, right? So when that happens, one wonderful feature about NetSuite is that this particular support case will be automatically created on NetSuite for you.
Okay.
Okay, you see this? This is a case which got created automatically. You see this? It got created as a lead. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The reason behind that is there are certain support preferences that that we need to check. So if I go into the support preference and you see this, create lead on no match. So what I'm saying is whenever someone submits a query, whenever someone submits a case, if that person is not in my NetSuite as a customer or as a lead or as a prospect, then I want to create him as a lead. And that particular lead will be assigned to a sales representative. And this
Mm-hmm.
case which got created will be assigned to a support representative. And now, how do you make an employee to be a support rep or a sales rep, right? You go into the employee record. Let me open this Mitra. Okay, I think that this is where I hit, right? So I can edit my employee record as an administrator.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that. Okay, since I'm editing, it is asking for a reason. What do you want to edit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting in my reason. And then if you go into the human resources tab, there is something called as support rep, project resource, and a sales rep role as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why does it straight? Hold on. Well, I don't know why it says terminated. It's okay. I don't changed it. So let's go in, assign him a support rep, project resource, and then I'm assigning him as a sales rep as well. And then I save it. Okay, this is how you make an employee to be your sales rep or a support representative. Okay, so this case that you have here, right? Now, under the support, there is something called as an automatic assignment as well. Okay, so whenever you're creating these cases, there are two ways of doing this. One way is a manual way of assigning the support rep onto this case, or there is a rule that you can create. So you go into the support, and then you have the case territories and case rules. Okay, all you got to do is open them. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's open the case rule first, and I will create a rule based on the let us say on the city. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so there are so many options. You can create your rules based on anything that you want to, maybe on the creation date, on creation time, on customer. So creation date, what this does is, let us say I have two sales representatives, right? One sales rep will be available on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The other sales rep is going to be available only on Tuesday and Thursday. So you can create a rule saying that, if there is a case created on Monday, Thursday, Friday, it's got to be assigned to the employee A. And if it gets created
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday and Thursday, it's got to be assigned to the rep B, something like that. So there are so many business cases that you can consider, and you can create your own rules based on whatever you have there. So let me do this. Okay, I would say that if it is equal to California, or maybe that's a state, but that's okay. You can just put that in. Okay, it has to match all conditions. You can put in two rules as well. You can put in a sub criteria to be able to be matching. So right now I'm saying that if the city of the submitter is California, then it has to be routed to a particular representative. Then where are you suggesting that you're going to set up again support, and then you will do a territory case territory. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you will create a new case territory, and then you will say this is a city territory that you want to create. And now I would have my rule, which is created here. Okay, I can select that rule, and I can, okay, since I
Mm-hmm.
made him the support rep, he will be available. So now let's go back to the online case form that we have created. Okay, yeah, this is the online case form. And here I would also put in a field for the city. Okay, I want to pull in the city as well, right? So
Mm-hmm.
let me do that and save the record. And then we'll go into external, pull in that publishable URL once again. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to specify the city as California. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're testing right now is automatically this particular case which gets created that needs to be assigned to Sarath based on the city that we have created, because there is a rule in place that we have done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's test that. So we'll go into the case forms again. We will open the list. Okay, you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the earlier case was not assigned. There is a grab option. I can grab it, as a user, as I will be able to grab that case and then start working on it, which will be manually assigned. But then with the rule that I've created, with the territory that I have created right now, I was able to automate my process of assigning the support reps. And likewise, it will be a round robin. So on that territory, I can specify, one after the other, one user after the other, and then the support cases will be assigned to one rep after the other, and they have to start working on the cases. Okay. And once they
Mm-hmm.
start working on the case, there is a communication tab. You can actually specify what you're doing there, right? You can send an email and attach that here. You can put in an email here as well. There are certain user notes, activities that are performed by the support reps. And once the issue is resolved, then they will go ahead and close out the support ticket. And there are certain escalation rules as well that you can create. Okay. So what this means is that if this is not assigned, or if no support rep is working on that particular support ticket, then you can create an escalation rule. Okay. So let us say you want to create case, duration since case creation. Okay. So I can
Mm-hmm.
I can select that as a rule, and I say that if it is greater than, let's say 60 minutes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
As of now, let's say only 1 minute for the testing purpose. Okay. So I can create a case escalation rule like this. And then what I can do is I can assign this rule on a manage escalation assignment, right? I go here, um, Why? I do a new case escalation assignment. Okay. And then I can pull in my rule over here, the escalation test that I have created. Who do you want that to be escalated? I want that to be escalated to Sagar. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you can escalate this to a manager as well. Now, what happens is, let us say we have created a case, all right, and that there's no activity on that particular case for about a minute that we have created. That is the rule that we have done now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've created a case right now. So if you are not touching this case for about a minute, then it has to be escalated to Sagar, is what we have said. So usually in a business case scenario, it won't be 1 minute, obviously, right? I mean, it can be like 60 minutes or 120 minutes. If nobody is picking it up, then I want Sagar to be notified about this case, that there is a case which came in. However, it is not assigned to anybody for the past 1 hour, or there's no activity on that for the past 1 hour. Then the manager can jump in and assign it manually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's how it works. Okay. Now this has got assigned to Sarath automatically. The reason is I've taken this lead, and this lead is from California. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with the rule assignment that we've done, it is automatically assigned to. So it works. I mean, you can choose any other company, and if you don't work around with that company for like 1 minute, then it lands up in this escalations. It's got escalated to, the information would be available here, whatever you want to escalate. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So that's about the support cases. This process is called well, on NetSuite, this is called call to resolution. Okay. What what we
Okay.
what we have done earlier is called the procure to pay, which is the complete purchasing process. So this one is called call to resolution. Okay.
Got it. This is for customer support, right?
Absolutely. This is for customer support. Whoever are your customers, you can create those URLs and publish the URL on the website with those publishable name. Maybe let's say submit a query, submit a case, submit an issue, or whatever you want to name it. You can name it, put it on the website, and once you do that, when someone submits it, it becomes a case. If you have multiple rules created, that if it comes from California, it's got to be assigned to someone else. If it comes from New York, there's going to be a different support rep, because those guys must be sitting in those cities, right?
Okay.
So that's how it works. That's about the call to resolution. Now, the reason I've shown you this call to resolution is we have to see the lead to quote procedure before we jump onto the sales orders. Okay, because the initial start procedure of how you're creating the leads, how the leads are converted to the prospects, and how the prospects are converting into your customers, would actually be part of the lead to quote. So let's see that lead to quote procedure now. Okay. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the lead to quote procedure, you've got under the sales, right? You have all these master data once again. So, you've got customer statuses, you've got lead conversion mapping, you have your sales preferences, you've got your sales team, sales rules, right? So you see this, these are the different statuses that you have: lead qualified, lead unqualified, and then closed lost, right? These are all the probabilities against which you have your customer setup done. So if it is in negotiation, then it's going to be 75% that this prospect would convert to a customer. So at a proposal stage, wherein you do a request for proposal, right? So when you're doing that, then this prospect would convert to a customer. Of course, that will be 50%. And then purchasing, that's one of the statuses that you have, and you can create your own status, and you can specify your own probability as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your lead conversion mapping, you can do that too. So this is your sales preference. So for each entity stage, like the lead, prospect, customer, what is going to be the initial status? So when a lead is created, what's going to be the initial status? That's going to be unqualified. Now when it turns out into a prospect, then it's going to be qualified prospect. When the prospect status is opportunity, right? Whenever you create an opportunity for this prospect, then it's going to be in discussion or in negotiation, whatever it is. So all these are your preferences that you can set up for the sales part that you have. So we have seen the enable features, we have seen the accounting preferences, we have seen the support preferences, and this is your sales preferences. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how the preferences would be set up. And well, if you have not seen the support preference, I'll just take you through that. I mean, I know that I've opened that page, but we have not discussed it. So these are the support preferences. What's going to be your default case form to send to the customer, right? These are the statuses for the new cases. For new cases, it's going to be not started, grabbed cases in progress, reopened cases as reopened, escalated as escalated, closed as closed. So these are the defaults that your cases would have as a preference. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
do you want to restrict your cases based on subsidiary? Do you want to escalate to support reps only? So which means if you disable this part, even if the person is not a support rep, you will still be able to add them in that support reps part. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, along with assigning these rules and territories to a single person, you would be able to do that to a group of people as well. Okay. To do that, what you need to do is, I mean, I have shown you, right, while creating the rule, while creating the territory, I was assigning it to a one person, which is only, right? So instead of doing that, what you can do is you can create a group, a bunch of people where you will be able to assign that particular, cases to them in a round robin fashion. Okay. So I can create static employee, or I can create a dynamic employee by creating certain saved searches over there. Okay. So what I can say is all the support reps from California in one group, all the support reps from um, um, from some other place, maybe Nevada, or any other place, you can Colorado, you can specify those rules and create your groups as well. So you can click on the static group, go to employee, and you will create your new group. So we can name that group as support group. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is a support group. And now I can add Sagar into that group. I can add Balaram Chandran onto that group. I can add few more people onto that group, and I will save this group. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So by creating this group, what's setting up your territory? Okay. Case territories. Let us go there. And I'll open one of the territory that I have created, edit that. And when you're doing the assignment, you will have the group as well. You see this?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of assigning it to a single person, you can assign this to a group of people as well. So you can create a group of support reps, you can create a group of sales reps, and any group that you want to, not only under the employees. Now when you are creating these groups, right, you have your customer group. Where's that? Go back to the list. Yeah, there you go. So you have your contact, customer, employee, partner, project, vendor. So you can create a group for any of these. You can create a group of your customers. You can create a group of your employees, partners, projects, and you can create a vendor group as well.
Got it.
Okay. So that's one thing I missed. I have explained you that as well. Uh, okay. So this is about the support preferences. You can go through these preferences. These are self-explanatory, by the way. I mean, if you do not understand by the heading that you have here, you can just click on this and read through what it says there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the redirect URL. The if you have seen the external form that we were dealing with, once you click on submit, it was taking you through some website, a random website. This is that particular website. You can
Mm-hmm.
mention that over here. Okay. Uh, yeah, that's it. That's about the support preferences. So let's go back to our sales part. Okay. So under the sales also, you have the same thing that you can do with the support. Okay. So you can reassign your leads, right? The lead will be assigned to a support representative. So like what,
Sorry, Killian, though. I just want to confirm something, right? Because I know yesterday we started with the transactions, you
right?
know, and I thought we were supposed to go into the sales process this year, but it's like we're going through all these
That's
rules and all that
exactly
again. Like, I just want to confirm, what the
that's
plan is really.
exactly that is exactly where we are going right now. But I wanted to show you how the leads are created within the system, right? When the
Oh,
lead,
okay.
the initial process of sales comes from the leads. If you do not have leads in the system, you will not be able to create the sales orders, right?
Got it. Okay. Let's go on then. All right.
Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. Thank you.
That's the reason we are going through the lead processing.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So there are certain online customer forms to generate the lead as well. Just like the pay, you have created your support form, you have your lead form as well. Okay. So this is the lead
Mm-hmm.
form that has been created already with the first name, last name, and everything. So you go here and then you enter this stuff over there, and then your lead will be generated automatically. This is a lead generation form. You see this?
Mm-hmm.
So there are three ways of doing the leads. You can either create them manually, you can create it through an online support form wherein a support case will be created along with the lead. And this is an online customer form wherein only a lead will be created without your support case. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to the leads which were created earlier. Okay. So this is the lead, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I said, if you remember, I said earlier that there is a Salesforce automation on NetSuite, and that Salesforce automation will actually convert this lead into a prospect, and then it converts the prospect into a customer. That is where we are dealing with the transactions, right? These are all the lead to quote transactions that we are doing right now. So once we have the customer in place, then we will go into the sales order process. Hope that makes sense.
Makes sense. Yep. Yep.
Okay, so then what I can do is there is a lead which is called that's the ID which got generated through the auto-generated numbers that we have done. So let me go into the transaction. So here comes your transactions that you're talking about. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you will create an opportunity with the lead that got generated. So let me go there. And by the way, you can create an opportunity. You can do an opportunity from here as well. Okay. If you will have an opportunity. If you click on that, an opportunity will be created automatically. I mean, with that particular company. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see this, the opportunity is in discussion, 20% probability, expected close date is 28th is what we are saying there. Seeing something like that. Okay. So now
Mm-hmm.
what I do is I scroll down and I can add the item of my choice that I want to sell to this customer. So I say that I want to sell the Apple Watch. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do one thing. let me see if this item is available in any of the locations there, so that we will not have an issue while fulfilling this. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's go back to the items. We were dealing with an Apple Watch. There you go. This is what it is. Scroll down. Yeah, I see that in the cloud location, there are 112 watches which are available already. Okay, so we go back to the
Correct.
opportunity. Close this down. We go back to the opportunity, and then we will select, okay, looks like this vendor is not multi-subsidiary. 1 second. I hope you are able to understand what I'm doing right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let me go back. And edit this. Okay, so here we will add the subsidiaries that we want to. What's not? Case profile subsidiary filter on cases. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Let's create another lead. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why it's happening is this lead is from a particular subsidiary, and we do not have the item in that. Okay, or let's bring up an item which has some inventory in the west location. Okay, let's see that. The laptop. Okay, let's create a search. All right.
Uh-huh.
And then we'll try to bring up the items which are available in that particular location, which is here, which is main Midwest. Okay, let's try the Midwest location there. It's not bringing it, fetching us any information. Let's do this. Nope. Looks like there is no quantity in that location there. Mm, well. Okay, so this cloud location is on which subsidiary? Let me check that.
Mm-hmm.
Cloud location is on Canada. All right. So let's create an opportunity on Canada. That's fine. Okay. Instead of changing all those things, we will create a new lead, which is for Canada location, assuming that
Mm-hmm.
this lead has been created just like the way we've done earlier ones. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
name of the company that is, that's okay. Okay, lead unqualified. The subsidiary should be Canada. This is where we were stuck. So let's do this. So I've created a lead right now and within Canada. Now what I'll do is let me create an opportunity for this lead. Okay, so here I scroll down, I go into opportunity. I would select the item as watch and then 10 quantity maybe, and then wait. Okay. All right. And then I can select my location from here, just cloud location right here. And I'm creating an opportunity here. Okay. So once that is done, my Rolls Royce actually was a lead earlier, right? So if I open this Rolls Royce right now, because there is an opportunity against that Rolls Royce, it has become a prospect. You see this? So once I created an opportunity against me, that company has become a prospect from my lead. So this is what your Salesforce automation all about. Now, from this opportunity, I can create a sales order. Okay. So the discussions are over, the the contract negotiations are done, and once all these are finished, right, you will be able to create you can convert your opportunity into a sales order, just like the way that we've done right now. So let us see. Okay, so I can save this sales order. Someone has made this mandatory again. So let's scroll down, custom, select the education. So I'm saving the sales order right now. So 51 of 30. Okay, so my sales order is saved right now. And when I go back to my prospect and when I refresh this, you would notice that the prospect is converted to your customer straight away. You see this? Because there is a bigger transaction than the opportunity, which is a sales order. And that is the reason your lead has been converted to a customer. Any questions on the lead conversion part?
Okay, so are you saying this will happen in Salesforce automatically, or?
No, there is an automation which is built on NetSuite. So nothing's going to happen on Salesforce. Everything's going to happen on NetSuite only. If you integrate your Salesforce with NetSuite, then automatically, you can, whatever customer you create on Salesforce you can bring them onto NetSuite. Whatever sales that you create there, you can bring them onto the NetSuite as a sale order as well.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so that's how it works. Now, this is one of the way of creating your customers, right? Like a person goes online, submits the form, he becomes a lead, and from that lead you actually create an opportunity. It converts to a prospect, and from that opportunity you convert that into a sale order, and once the sales order is created, he becomes your customer. This is one way of doing it. Now the other way of doing it is you can create a customer straight away on NetSuite. I mean, it's not mandatory that you have to go through that lead conversion process that I've shown.
Right.
To customer, you don't have to do all those things. You can directly import your customers. You can create a customer and create a sales order against that customer directly as well. That can be done too.
Makes sense.
Okay. All right. So this is how your sales orders are. I mean, you can create them manually as well, like by creating a customer and by creating a sale order directly. But I've shown you how the original transactions are done, right from opportunities and converting that to a sale order.
Mm-hmm.
And from your opportunities, in fact, you can convert that into your quotations as well.
Mm.
Okay, so you do not have a list of opportunities here, but then if you create a new opportunity, then under the actions, you will have an option wherein you can convert that into a quotation, and that quotation can be converted into a sales order.
Mm. Got it.
Okay, these are all the quick options that you have. So from this sales order, you can create a case as well. Okay, so against this
Okay.
customer, you can create a case, you can create your task, a phone call can be recorded. I mean, recorded in the sense, after making a phone call, you can tell them what the conversation was all about. So all these things can actually be created.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so there's a Celigo integration log. So what this integration log does is when you're trying to integrate Salesforce with NetSuite, there is a connector which is used in between, and that connector is called your Celigo connector.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you have those integrations in place, so you can check the Celigo integration log, what's happening behind, where's your sales order, what's happening there, everything can be checked on that Celigo integration log that you see over here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so once the sales order is created, you know that this is a non-posting transaction, again, just like the way we have the purchase orders. So
Mm-hmm.
the total amount is 5,400, along with 400. 5,000 is the amount, and 400 is the tax amount,
Mm-hmm.
right? That will be debited to sales order, and then 4,000 sales is the primary accounting book that you've set it up on the accounting preferences. So that is the reason it's a credit on your sales account, and then sales orders is a debit over there. That is a non-posting transaction, by the way, for your sale order. So let's go there, go back to the sale order, and we'll approve that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
once that is approved, you can go into the, it's at a stage. um why does it show back ordered? We have this available, right? Why is it showing as back ordered? We'll see. Scroll down. 112 is available on hand. Okay. Uh, why is it showing back ordered? This is strange. The location is cloud location. Okay. Item is Apple Watch. Why did it go into back ordered is the question. Commit available quantity. Okay. Oh, okay. There you go. So this is a dropship item that we have selected. Okay, so that is the reason it is showing as this. Oh my God. Okay, let me. So if I go into that Apple Watch right now as an item, I can open that item, and the dropship is selected for this. Oh, it is not a dropship item as well. Then why is it showing so? Uh, well, it's kind of strange. I thought that we were showing it up as a dropship item. Why is it showing as a dropship? Let's put in a PO for this so that it'll be a revision for the purchase order process for us as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that. Save this.
Mm.
Oh, vendor is not added yet. So I'm receiving this 10 quantity. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The fulfill option has come in right now. You see this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It wasn't there earlier. So the fulfill option is there right now. So we will fulfill this item fulfillment. So this is the same page that we went through when we were doing the item return for the item that we have purchased, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's make the status as shipped. Save it. Okay. So this has been shipped right now. If I go back to my GL impact and if I refresh my inventory item, scroll
Mm-hmm.
down, you will see that why is there no GL impact for this? There's no GL impact because this is a drop ship item that we have done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is the reason. So see, if we are doing a normal sale order with a normal item, then obviously we will have the GL impact for the item fulfillment, wherein it will be a debit on COGS, right? And then accounts receivable will be a credit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So once you receive the payment from the customer, then you will have your accounts receivable a debit, and then bank account. I'm sorry, account receivable a credit, and bank account is going to be a debit because we are receiving the payment from the customer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, let's build this. I don't know why is it taking some time. Let's do this. Okay. This is the customer invoice that we will generate to receive the payment from the customer. Okay. So all these fields are self-explanatory. Once again, you have your memo, you have your start date, the date of which that's done in the posting period based on the date as well. So, if date is 28th April, and that's the reason the posting period is April 2024. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Under the items, you have several tabs over here, which we've gone through already. The custom tab, system information tab. System information is the one which records everything that happens with this particular form. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The communication tab, the relationships and all are quite common in every form. So let us save this invoice. All right. So now the invoice is created. There you go. The accounts receivable is a debit and it's gone
Mm-hmm.
out of deferred revenue. Okay. Once you receive the payment, that is when your accounts receivable will be a credit and your bank account is going to be a debit because you're receiving the payment. So
Right.
let's go back to our invoice and then we can accept the payment. Of course, there are two ways again. You go to transactions, customers, and then accept customer payments, where
Mm-hmm.
you get the complete list of payments which are pending to be received from the client. Okay, you can choose your customer here. Who was our customer? Rolls Royce, right? The one that we created. So if you select this, the pending payments will be available here. You see this?
Yeah. So quick question,
Yeah.
Ilian. Um, so no, yesterday I asked you about the tool that can be used for vendor transactions and accounts payable, and we agreed on bill.com, right? So on the AR side, because currently we have a situation where we send out bills to customers, and when these customers make payment, we receive the payment in the bank account.
Hmm.
We don't know what bill they are paying. We don't even know who the customer is because I might send a bill to Kalian and maybe Pavan is the one paying and making the payments on your behalf. I don't know, so it becomes very, very difficult to really reconcile. So my question is there really a tool that can be integrated with NetSuite that can enforce customers to make a payment within that tool, such that we don't have to run into a situation whereby we have so many payments or deposit that we don't even know the customer that is paying for that deposit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Well, I don't know if there is a tool available for that. I'll have to research a bit into that and check if that's sort of available for us. Or you can actually go through certain suite apps and see if that would be available. So what you're looking at is you should have a tool wherein the customers can make a payment over there, and that has to integrate with NetSuite, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, so a tool that can that customers can make a payment or so let's call it an invoice management tool, pretty much, right? That we send the invoice, maybe through that application. And when the customer is making a payment, the customer has to make a payment, within the application itself, so that we don't have to run into a situation where a customer is making a payment directly on their bank account.
Hmm.
We are receiving the inflow, but we don't know, but we can link that payment to an invoice. So basically, a tool that can link a customer's payment with an invoice. You know, I mean, that is exactly what I want. Because in the case of bill.com now, we're able to link a payment going to a vendor with a vendor bill. That
Correct.
is the beauty of bill.com.
Right.
So, is there a tool that allows us link a customer's invoice to a customer's deposit or inflow or a customer's payment? I mean, that's what I'm looking for.
Right. Uh, well, I've not, I mean, I've not worked in that situation earlier. So Salesforce integration is one thing that you can actually look at, right? Uh,
Okay.
for the payments which can be done on Salesforce and that can be integrating with the NetSuite. That is one thing. I'm really not sure about the others. I'll
Okay.
have to look into that. Probably you can research that as well. When you start working with them, right? You can actually research and see if there's there. And by the way, for your client, who are the implementation partners? Do they have support from them still, or do they do not have it, or how's it? You can reach out to them actually. I mean, to the support.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just collecting ideas. We have ACS services. I think that is Advanced Customer Support by NetSuite.
Ah, perfect. Yeah. So that team would be the ideal one that you can reach out to, right?
Oh, okay.
You can raise a support ticket, and I'm pretty sure they'll come up with a solution. Of course, there might be a charge involved with that. Probably they can come up with a change request and show how things work.
Mm-hmm.
But then they will be the right people that you can deal with for such questions. Okay,
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
great. So let's receive this payment. Account. It's asking for an account. Okay. So I'm receiving the payment, which is the last step in my sale order process. And if you can see the GL impact on your payment, it'll show you the bank account debit and accounts receivable as a credit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we go back to the sale order again, let's go to the sales order. So there you will have a return authorization Apple watches, out of which one of them is not working, or there's a problem, there's an issue with one Apple watch and he want to send that back to you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, you can click on return authorize, or there's another way. You can go to transactions, sales, and then enter return authorization transaction, customers, in fact, customers, and then approve return authorizations, enter return authorize, issue return authorization, issue customer refund. All these options will be available over there. So instead of returning 10, what I'm saying is I just want to return only one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can save this return authorization. Can approve this.
But another question though, quickly, right?
Yeah.
So is it possible to create a payment link within NetSuite?
No,
A customer payment link?
no.
No. Okay, good. Okay, just wanted to confirm. Okay, maybe that's something which I can request the ACS services,
Yes,
to
yes. Probably
create.
through an integration through the normal standard process, there is no payment link that you can integrate within NetSuite. So you cannot click on that, or you cannot send that link to someone so that when they're making the payment, it is auto recorded on NetSuite. No, it doesn't work that way. I mean, at least on the standard side, we do not have that option.
Right, 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 right. Okay.
All right. So I can do an item receipt here because I'm receiving the one quantity back into my warehouse that I have. So, all right. And if you can see the GL impact on the item receipt, there will not be any impact because it is going back to the vendor, because this is a dropship item that we have done, right? So it will go back to the vendor, and that is the reason there's no GL impact for the item there. So if I go into the sales order, so these are my options that I have there. My purchase order, item fulfillment, invoicing, item, in return authorization, and the revenue arrangement has been generated as well. This revenue arrangement is for the advanced revenue management.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is where you will be able to view your revenue plans and how things work on the advanced revenue management. This is the part of it. Okay, right. Let's go back to the sales order again. So I had to show you that lead generation and converting it into prospect and customer so that I can lead you to this sales order process. Hope you understood that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So one other thing that we have not discussed, right? I mean, you wanted to jump onto the transactions to see how the purchase orders and sales orders actually work. Now, one other thing that I wanted to show was your roles management, right? Do you want me to show that to you?
Sorry, what was the question?
Roles. How do you create roles? How do you manage your roles? How do you
Please, please, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that because I had an issue with that during the week. I think that is administration, right?
correct?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
please, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that because I'm going to be reviewing a lot of user access. And when we're
Absolutely.
talking about roles, right? I don't know. Okay, very interesting question. Let me tell you something quickly. So we're about to integrate another application with NetSuite,
Hmm.
and our internal developers, okay, they want access to NetSuite to better understand how it works, so that they can configure their integration. But we in the finance department, we're concerned about access to data. We don't want to give them, you know, unrestricted access to the data because they are internal staff. We have salary information and all those stuff within NetSuite. So now the question is, how can we creatively restrict what they can see while allowing them to do their job? So I don't know if,
Exactly.
but just
And
want to ask that question.
that's the reason I wanted to show you the roles before we jump onto the transactions actually, right? So
Mm-hmm,
the role management is pretty straightforward on NetSuite, and it's very helpful as well. So you're going to set up user roles and manage roles. Okay.
mm-hmm,
So as I said earlier, right, you can actually create the roles of your choice. I mean, whatever you see as a customize over here, those
mm-hmm,
are the ones which are standard, which have come as part of the bundle, right? The standard
mm-hmm,
that you see here.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Okay. So let's get into one of the roles which has been customized already. Okay.
mm-hmm,
So let's say custom consultant. So I can go into this. Okay. So here under accessible subsidiaries, okay, there are three options. One is all subsidiaries. Okay. So when you
mm-hmm,
give this all subsidiaries access, now this particular person will be able to view and make changes as per the permission that he has, of course, right? But he will be able to have access to all the subsidiaries which are in the system. Okay.
mm-hmm,
And this active okay, so when you click on when you say all, even the inactive subsidiaries, he's going to have access to that. Both active and inactive subsidiaries, he will have access to everything that is there on NetSuite.
mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And when you say active subsidiaries, let us say there are 5 subsidiaries, out of which one is inactive, so he will have access only to that 4 active subsidiaries. Okay.
Mhm, mhm,
Now, when you say user subsidiary, on the employee record, when you are creating an employee record, on the employee, you will have an option to select the subsidiary, the user subsidiary. Okay.
mhm,
So when you say user subsidiary, he is going to have access only to that user subsidiary option there.
mhm, mhm,
Okay.
mhm, mhm,
Now, what is the selected option? When you say selected, you can click on control and select the subsidiary that you want to give access to. It can be only, one subsidiary, or it can be like 2 or 3 subsidiaries. So that is how it works.
mhm,
Okay. Now, when I say user subsidiary, right, I can do one other thing as well. I can say allow cross subsidiary viewing for this person, which means there are 10 purchase orders for subsidiary 1, which is the user subsidiary. Okay.
mhm,
And there are other 10 sorry, there are 10 more purchase orders for the second subsidiary. So he will be able to view those purchase orders, but he'll not be able to make any changes over there.
Okay.
So this is how you can control the access to your users.
Right, right. And when it comes to GL account, can I restrict them from seeing maybe the chart of account, particularly? I don't want any access chart of account. I don't want them to see the GL records, for example,
That
which is even my concern. That is really what I'm concerned about because we have GL records, we're making payments, we're paying for severance, we're paying for salaries. So it is really those transactions. That is what I'm really concerned about protecting in this case, right? Even if they have access to the entire subsidiary, they can do whatever they like, but I don't want them to see the transactions in those subsidiaries, maybe
well,
like, yeah.
yeah, you can actually restrict them from here only, right? I mean, if you say user subsidiary, right, so
Mhm,
they will be able to see the GLs only from that particular subsidiary. They will not be able to see not only the GL. When you say user subsidiary, every transaction, every relationship that you have in your NetSuite system, like your vendors, customers, contacts, partners, right? Your sales orders, purchase orders, journal entries, chart of accounts, everything will be restricted only to that particular subsidiary. They will not be able to view anything else from the other subsidiary. So it's quite straightforward. You can restrict them here itself.
Right. I think you're not understanding my question, Killian, right? I understand that, I can restrict them here. I can give them access to one subsidiary. But what I'm saying is I don't want them to have access to the transactions of that subsidiary. Okay. Like all the accounting records that we are creating, so making a payment, receiving payment from customers, posting
Yeah,
journal
so
entries within that subsidiary. They can do everything else within the subsidiary,
yeah, so
but the
absolutely.
accounting transactions in that
Yeah,
subsidiary, I don't
right,
want them to have access to it.
right,
That's my
right.
question.
Correct. So you can remove the transactions over there. You can remove the purchase order and they cannot view the purchase orders. You can remove the journal entries and that's it. They cannot. So this is one. See, you can restrict them at the subsidiary level. And then if you do not want to see them, the transactions, you can remove it from here. If you do not want to see them, the chart of accounts, you can remove it from here. So it's as simple as that. You click on this purchase order, remove it from there. They'll not be able to see the purchase orders.
Okay. Okay.
Right? That's how you can do it. I mean, simple
Right, right,
simple
right,
way of
right.
doing it is you do not want them to see some transaction, then don't give them permission here. This is the
Okay.
permission that you can give. Only if you give that permission, they will have access to that record, or else they cannot even, I mean, it won't show up here. It won't show up as enter purchase orders. It won't show up the purchases, enter acquisition. These options will not be available for them at all.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Right? You can try that. I mean, you can test that in your sandbox. You can create your own role, and then
Uh-huh.
you can jump onto that role from here, and then you will see what all the other person with that role will have access to. That's it. Now, along with these permissions, let us say there are 4 levels that you can give. One is a full access, right? The first one is a view. Now, when you say view, this person with this role will just be able to view that record, but he cannot create, edit, or delete. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And when you give a create access, he will be able to view and create. However, he cannot edit and delete. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you give edit access, he can view, create, and edit, but not delete. And when you give
Okay,
him
so mhm.
full level, that is when he can view, create, edit, and then delete as well.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. So in this case, view access is okay, just to view only, don't do anything else.
Absolutely right. So if you give view only, they'll just be able to view that record, but they'll not be able to make any changes. Nothing would be there. The edit option itself will be disabled. The delete option will never be there because it's just view.
Got it. Okay.
So if
Thank you.
any
Yeah.
any transaction, right? That is transaction. Now this is reports. This is lists. Even for the lists, if you want to, show only certain list, you can do that. If they do not want, if you say that the classes should not be available, remove it. If they do not want to see the departments, remove it. Right? If you do that
Mhm.
from their menu, whenever they're accessing, right? If you're going to this company, they will not see the departments and locations right here. These options will not be there at all for that particular role.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
So this is how you restrict your users from giving certain permissions or viewing the records from the other subsidiaries. So these are all different options that you see in the setup. One is setup. Under the setup, what do you want to have access to for this particular role? You can give that setup as well. Okay, so setup is this, lists is this, reports is this, transactions is this. So what
Okay.
transactions you want to give is actually visible here,
Right.
right?
Right.
If you want to give sale order, sales order is a permission. You can give sales order as a permission for this guy. You can do that. And then let us say you want item receipts. You can do this. Only when you give this permission and only when they have this particular role, that is when they can access this, or else.
That makes sense. Got it.
So this is how your roles are going to work. This is very important for an administrator to know how these roles and permissions and levels work.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. And then, yeah. So Do you want even from here you can set up the sales role, support role, and partner role like this. I mean, if you set it up on this role and if you assign this role to a person, then he becomes a sales role, a sales rep or a support rep directly, rather than doing it on an individual employee record.
Oh, okay, got it, got it, got it.
Okay, so these are the employee restrictions again, right? So if you see no none default, which means he will not be able to view any other employees records, right? Or none default to own, so he'll be able to see only his own, subordinate, and unassigned, which means anybody reporting to him, he will be able to see the roles and restrictions for that person. Own and subordinates only, people who are just reporting into him, he'll be able to see those. That's about,
Mm-hmm.
allow viewing option you can give. You can say click on allow viewing. So that's how it works. Any questions on that?
No questions. No
And you
questions.
can also assign the forms to these roles as well. Which forms do you want to give to which roles? If you select only, then they will have access to the forms as well.
Got it.
So that is forms, this is permissions, and this is your restrictions, that you can restrict your, segment, location, department, class. What do you want to restrict them to, right? Own and subordinates only. So all these are restrictions that you can actually, give to your access to your employees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, one other important feature of this role setup is that you can compare two existing roles on your system by going into this show role difference.
Okay.
Right? Now, let us say you want to compare your AP clerk with your AR clerk, right? So if you want to see only the differences, you can select this. Or if you want to
Okay.
see the entire list of permissions that they have, so you can just click on show. You can export that into an Excel sheet and it will show you every permission with every level that these guys have got. Accounts payable, here it is an edit. For AP clerk, for AR clerk, there is no permission. This is edit.
Wow.
This is
Okay.
none, right? So all this will be visible for you. And the other beautiful feature about NetSuite is that not only one role, but you can compare it with multiple roles of your choice.
Oh, wow. This is excellent. I
It is.
love this.
It is really one of the wonderful features that NetSuite has got, because you see this, you will
Wow.
be,
I've been trying to do this, Kelly, and this is wonderful. I'm so happy you're showing me this. This is
yeah.
great.
Yeah, so this is, you will be able to understand what permission levels each role has got. And in fact, this is the only, I mean, as of now, it is showing only the difference. But if you want to show the similarities as well, so just remove this checkbox and then click on show. I'm sorry. All right. So this will bring up every permission that they have, every level of permission that they have. So it will bring up everything that they have, right? Right under the lists, right under the setup, right under the reports, right under the transactions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The setup, everything what is there for them would be visible for you here. And the best part is that this is exportable. You can get them onto the Excel sheet. And if I can bring up this is very, very useful when you are actually assigning things to your employees, right? Employees.
Right, right,
This,
right, right. This
this,
is great. This is wonderful.
yeah, this
I
is how
love
it
this.
works.
I love this.
I can bring up the lists only, and under lists, what all permissions that I have and what are the levels that I have for each role that I have within the organization would be visible for you here.
This makes sense. This is good. This is good. I like it. Okay.
All right, so you can actually segregate it this way and understand what all options do you have for your roles. Okay, any questions on that?
No questions.
This is about managing the permissions. This is, show role difference. You can see the view audit login trail as well, who all have logged in when. That's your, audit login trail. And then there's a two-factor authentication for this, that you can actually check that here as well. So all these are your login audit trails. You can click on saved search, create a search for you with the employees that you want to check, and you should be able to get that audit login trail for those employees there.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah, so that's it about the roles that you have there. So what the industry practice is that, they usually you won't be assigning these custom roles. I mean, you will still be having an option to, assign these customized roles. I mean, the standard roles that you have there. But then what people do is they customize these roles, create a role of their choice, and then they just make them inactive. All these custom role, I mean, all these standard roles that they have, they make them inactive so that no one will be assigned with these standard roles, because you want to have your own set of permissions, your own set of levels, your own set of
Right.
subsidiary restrictions on those roles, right? So that is the reason these will be made inactive. Only these edit options would be made active, so that the custom roles can be assigned onto the employee records.
Okay. And when assigning this role, right, I believe we once talked about this. I will go back to one of the videos. But so how do I know the standard roles and the customized role? How
No,
do I
yeah. So you see this?
standard? Yeah.
Okay. So if it is a custom role, then it's going to show up.
Oh, okay, good, 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 good. Okay, so in that column, it's gonna show up
You
as
see this?
custom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a custom role. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay.
Okay. So anything, and one more, I mean, you don't have to go through this custom standard part as well, but any role which has a customized option against it is a standard role. Any role which has got an edit option against it is the one that we created. Simple.
Okay, beautiful. That's straightforward.
Because you cannot edit a standard role, right? You have to create another custom role, and only that role can be editable.
That makes sense. 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 But you can customize a standard role.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So you can customize a standard role, but and you can edit a custom role.
Right. So if you click on customize, then it'll show you that you have to save this role first as a custom role. Only then you're making changes on the other role. That's it.
That makes sense.
Got that? And you can create your roles from the scratch as well, which is a big headache. In fact, I mean, you,
I don't want to do that.
No. Nobody wants to do that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that nobody, would want to do everything from the scratch, that building up those permissions levels and transactions, because NetSuite has given them, such a feasibility that an AP clerk, right? From the standard AP clerk perspective, NetSuite has given all the required permissions which are, required for the AP clerk. So what I meant to say was, as an industry standard practice, I mean, there are some leading practices that we follow, right? So all these
Uh-huh.
permissions that you have are the permissions for an AP clerk in general,
Got it.
and they come as part of the bundle that you install. So NetSuite gives you that provision that you don't have to create those roles right from the scratch. However, having said that, when you create your AP clerk customized role, probably in your organization, you do not want to give him this pay sales tax option, right? You can just remove that
Mm-hmm.
and then create a role of your choice. It's absolutely up to you. So what you do is, instead of this custom, you say that my client is IBM. So I say IBM AP clerk, right? This is how
Mm-hmm.
it works. So you save this role, and then whatever changes you want to make, you will be making the changes on your custom role.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay.
That's clear.
All right. Yeah, I think we can wind up for the day, because we've gone through all the transactions, and we've discussed enough about the role setup, and then we've seen the order to cash process, the lead to code process, and the the call to resolution process as well. So we as transactions, we've seen about 3 processes that we can do and the entire role setup as well. Okay, so next class, whenever we meet, we will do the intercompany stuff.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay, that sounds good.
Right, so we'll do the intercompany, we will do the amortization schedules, we'll do the expense allocations. All right. Anyways, you don't need the manufacturing, so let's skip that.
Yeah, I don't do expense allocations, but let's see. So there is an app which I saw now on NetSuite, NetSuite Expense Management. Are you familiar with that?
NetSuite Expense Management is a suite app which can be installed. I
Yes.
mean, on top of this, there is expense management on NetSuite as well, but on top of NetSuite, you can build that. I mean, you can install that suite app, and there are certain advanced features which come as part of that expense. And of course, there is earlier we used to have something called as a shared vendor bill. Okay, which is like you share your vendor bill again, in between 2 vendors. That option was there, but it's not there as of now. And that is the reason NetSuite has come up with a suite app, which is called as NetGain. Okay,
NetGain.
NetGain. That's right. So if you go here onto the suite apps, hold on. NetGain, shared transactions by NetGain is one option that you have. Bank feeds is another good NetSuite suite app that you have for bank reconciliation. So yeah, there are a few more suite. I mean, there are a lot of suite apps, but then in general, right, we use just like about 5 or 8 suite apps, which are mostly used by the customers. But I haven't come across users who've been using suite apps extensively.